Here with Hunter Cruz. Thanks for joining me. Uh, I had to get you before the WNBA got you because they need you. I seen that draft, and you was as upset as I am. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I would like to ask, like, how did you start with YouTube and analyzing women's basketball?
Yeah, so I first started out focusing on the NBA draft, but what I noticed just following the NBA draft online and starting to get on women's basketball too is just the comparison in terms of the analysis, the depth of the analysis. If you look up any NBA draft prospect, you can probably find 15 to 20 different breakdowns, long breakdowns on these prospects. For WNBA draft prospects, you look up mock drafts or big boards or whatever, you're just gonna find like 2 to 3 sentence write-ups, and the write-ups are just, "This player is a good shooter, they can defend, they average this many points in college." There's nothing there. So I saw that, and just as someone that loves basketball, I really started to pick up and enjoy women's basketball. I saw that and I was like, "There's a gap here. There's a need for this type of coverage." And my goal is to, like, work in a front office, it's to work in the league. So just seeing that and as well, I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this," and people have enjoyed it. People need this coverage, and I always say, like, I'm not someone that's gonna gatekeep and be like, "Oh, like, I'm the only one that can do this." There needs to be more of this coverage. The players deserve it. The league deserves it as well too.
It's crazy that you mentioned that because I can feel it in the way you analyze the game.
Mhm,
It's like basketball first. And like you said, because I'm not gonna lie, Caitlin Clark got me back into women's
mhm,
basketball. I've always been kind of on it because like
mhm,
I'm a basketball fan first. And Caitlin Clark, she just, hey, it is what it is. She took not even just women's basketball by storm. And so I was just looking for people to break down these players because now I'm interested in her. She went to the Fever, and now I'm trying to see, okay, team building, who can actually win a championship. Asia Wilson's doing her thing. And I just came across your channel and I'm like, oh yeah, he got it. And like just as a basketball fan, I feel like that's the best resource for women's basketball. So it's I just had to talk to you. I did want to ask this question because the WNBA draft just happened
mhm.
and I just don't understand some of the moves made. Like I'm not the expert. I defer to you. And it was just
Mhm.
like so many bad decisions. And I don't know. Like, how did you feel about the WNBA draft? Because you said some things. You said some things.
Yeah, and a lot of times whenever I'm watching prospects, I try not to have, like, extremely strong takes to where I'm like, "This player is not gonna work out." I'm not gonna just straight out say this player is a bust, like, they're not gonna be good. But you look at some of the draft philosophies, and some of it just does not make a lot of sense, and just how some of these teams come to their decisions. Like one team that I've really focused a lot on is Washington.
Mhm.
Washington in their draft, they get Lauren Betts, who I think a lot of people agree like is a top 5 prospect. You see someone that's 6'7" that defends like she does, like great, great pick. But as the draft goes along, and you consider the team building process of this team has Sony Citron and Kiki Finn, but they do not have any shooters. They took no
Yeah.
threes last year. They were last in the league in 3-point rate. Why is your draft philosophy now to draft a bunch of non-shooters? I guess to them, they believe we can develop anybody into a shooter,
Mhm.
but that seems pretty tough when it's the WNBA where there's just not as many resources as far as these players staying in market for all 12 months to work with a shooting coach to develop their shot. And it's just easier said than done to develop 5 different rookies at once when you have all those young players. Where are the opportunities for them to develop in game if every time they're trying to drive to the rim, there's 3 bodies, every help defender in every gap? So to me, the philosophy there did not make much sense at all. I get all of the players' respective talents. There's potential there, but I just didn't understand the philosophy. And like even like the Flauzy Johnson trade is like one of the biggest puzzling moves I've ever seen. Yeah,
It
I don't.
because with the Washington, I want to stay right there for a second because that was
Yeah.
another team that I thought could have got way better with this draft. And you hit it on the head because I love Sonya Citron. I love Kiki Iriafen. Lauren Betts was the best player available. I heard you say that. Uh like what would you have done differently? Because
Mhm.
it's like she's a Sonya Citron's a shooter, Kiki Iriafen, she's a power forward, but I don't know the Lauren Betts situation. But like like, how do you see Washington? Like, if it was a perfect best case scenario?
For me, where the board fell at number 9, I would have probably, like, at that spot taken Raven Johnson, and I
Mm,
would have probably taken Raven Johnson at number 9. I get there's still, like, some shooting question with Raven, but even then, like, Raven's a better shooter than anybody even Washington drafted, and they drafted
yeah.
bad shooters, and she has the shooting questions. I just, like, would have taken Raven because they don't have guard play really, Washington doesn't right now. I would have taken Raven, and I do not understand why they passed on Gianna Neepkins at number 11. I would have taken her. I get there's athleticism questions, but they need more shooting, and I like the fit, like, system-wise, they have the defenders. So, to me, if you're taking Lauren Betts, who's the best defensive big in the class, you're taking Raven Johnson, who's the best defensive guard in the class. I think you've done enough roster building-wise to justify where you can realistically and reliably take the bad defender in Neepkins, who's just an awesome shooter.
Yeah. Can
But
they can they coexist? Do you think Lauren Betts and Kiki Irvin can coexist in that front court?
I mean,
Just you personally?
uh I think Kiki's gonna have to shoot. I think that's probably what it's gonna come down to.
Mhm.
If she develops a shot, there's a chance that I think they could work because I think Kiki's ability to defend in multiple coverages, she moves very well. I've always been more impressed with her perimeter defense versus interior defense. So I think it'll come down to that. If Kiki shoots, yes. If she doesn't shoot, and it's what the profile is right now, it's probably not your championship front court.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a gigantic fan of their draft. I would have probably taken Raven, Neepkins. I like the Cass Prosper pick in round 2 as someone that's only 20 years old and has some upside. I don't mind, like, I don't mind Cody, but I also
Cody
I
McMahon, I did see you say that, and it kind of it's a clunky fit. It's not the players like a clunky fit. I like Rory Harmon though, but it could be just
he's
my
cool.
Texas bias. But I like Rory Harmon. I like Georgia Amore. I like the Mystics, but I just feel I don't know. Do you think they gonna take a step back, or it's just like
I think they're gonna be bad this year, and that's
yeah
kind of the goal. They're not trying to win. They have no veterans. Their veteran is Makila Onyewere, who's a year 5 player, and she was the UCLA assistant coach last year, and she's 26 years old. That's their veteran. They're not gonna be good this year. Their point guard room is Georgia Amore and Rory Harmon. Like they're not gonna be good. As cool as those players are, they're in the position to tank and set up for Juju Watkins and those players.
ooh
And that's the question to me as well is like, if you're gonna be setting yourself up to get Juju Watkins, Michaela Williams, Madison Booker, these wing creators, players that love to operate in the mid-range, why are you drafting a bunch of players that wouldn't fit with your
yeah
future fans to the franchise? That's my other thing is, like, I don't know where you're building here to where even I guess best case is you teach all of these players to shoot. But to me, there's not even the indicators there. Where I don't really trust Cody to shoot. She's never made free throws. The jumper's always been inconsistent. So not a big fan of their draft
yeah.
overall. Yeah.
It seemed like it kind of hurt you too because it felt like you was a fan of Washington, and so I kind of felt it.
Because they're doing some good stuff. Like they have so many draft picks. They're just finessing Chicago just left and
Oh
right,
my
just
god,
getting all of
Chicago
their
is terrible.
like they're rebuilding them for them. Like they're just
What?
Chicago's over there.
How you feel about LA? Because I feel like they was in a weird situation. I like when they had Cameron Brink. I
Yeah.
like when they had Rakia Jackson. You stated on one of your videos that they was looking like they're kind of going towards the middle. Like
Yeah.
I just kind of find that as a trend in the WNBA. I don't know what's going on with it, but it seems like they can't keep teams together, or they don't know when to tank. They don't know when to go forward.
Mhm.
It yeah.
I think some of it is teams don't want to be bad for extended stretches because the goal is to make money, and when your goal is to make money,
Okay.
you don't want to be bad for extended stretches. So that I get like that factor and just like the economics of running a basketball team. But you look at LA's roster with Kelsey Plum, Dearica Hamby, Nneka Ogwumike, Errol Atkins, Cameron Brink. 4 of those players are in their 30s, and I don't see that as a championship core. When you look at what New York has, what Atlanta has, what Vegas has, all of these in Indiana, those 4 teams, I don't see that core competing. And also those teams are just far younger too. So there's not even a strong window here. To me, that seems you have a 2 to 3 year runway with this old core. You probably don't win a championship. Then in 3 years, what are you doing? I guess you're just retrying it again. I think I just
Yeah.
To me, like, my philosophy of building basketball teams, I just would not prefer to have this old of a core with not many outs either, because you're kinda just now tied to these players. Atkins tied for 3 years, Hamby tied for 3 years, and I just not a huge fan of Hamby's, like, impact game for, like, playoff basketball, like, defending wise. But I like their draft. Like, you get Taniya Latson. Whether they can compete for a title, if there's any chance in this window, it's probably gonna be Cameron Brink. If
Mm.
Cameron Brink hits her ceiling, it has to be quick too. Like, it has to be within the next couple of years. If she's a defensive player of the year candidate, then we might be talking. Like, we might be talking
Mm.
about sneaky chance if an injury happens or something. Kelsey, something happens, and there's always a chance they could get that too.
Did you think Nika got in her way? Like, well, could she get in Karen Brink's way? Because
Yeah.
I think I thought that was a weird sign, and not weird because she's a great player, but like if you're trying to develop Cameron Brink into what she can ultimately be, would you bring in a Nika to kind of? I don't know. I just kind of thought that was weird for sure.
Yeah, I think Cam's game complements NECA pretty well, but I think it's more the NECA Dearica Hamby combination because
Mm,
both to me are fours at this point, and I don't know how exactly NECA moving to the three or Dearica Hamby at the three works if you want to go with Cam Brink at the five. So you just don't have that same level of rim protection at NECA's age playing the five or having her with Dearica Hamby. So not a gigantic fan of that combination for them, but they're better. And that's a lot of the teams in the offseason where I'm gonna grade them lower, and that's just, like, come from my philosophy of, I don't think you're a contender, you're not building for the future. So to me, it's hard for me to say A plus offseason when you're just gonna
yeah.
be okay, but
What does that say about Kelsey Plum? Is do you consider her a superstar first off? Like how do you
I
view Kelsey Plum?
I view Kelsey Plum as a high-end number 2,
Mm,
and a lot of that also is built into my philosophy of it's hard to build through a 5'8" guard. Like, just
yeah.
like historically, there's really never been a contender where the number 1 option was a 5'8" guard. Like, just not historically, and that's not how it's been. So to me, that's why I've always said number 2 in the right position, like an awesome shot creator, solid secondary playmaker. But the defensive issues, it's tough to build a number 1 around a team with Kelsey Plum. It's kind of like your Jalen Brunson type conversations that you would even have with the Knicks, for example.
Because I've always liked Kelsey Plum,
Mhm.
and when she went to LA, I kind of seen her flaws a little bit. I'm with you on Dearica Hamby. I'm not the biggest Dearica Hamby fan as well. Did you thought they moved off Rakia too fast, or how'd you feel about that?
I mean, I understood it. I understood it. I've never been the biggest Rakia Jackson fan, just the efficiency and some of like the defensive questions. But I
What is
understood.
her game? Like it's like sometimes when I watch her play, it's like she's good, but it's like what is
She,
her
sh
game to you?
to me, she moves very fluidly. Like, she's a really good athlete, good cutter, plays in transition, got some ball skills too. But the shot creation is cool, like, in theory, like, if you watch the highlights, like, her best moments as a shot creator are cool, but she's never been efficient in that area. So, like, I guess the idea is shot creating wing forward that can play the 3, play the 4, can beat fours off the dribble, can hold her on at the 3, but you need development as a defender and the feel for
Mm,
the game too, and just some of the quick processing that she just sometimes will get into the mode where she's just taking a bunch of tough shots.
okay, because I was thinking about LA because when they got Cameron Brink, because they was a part of their class with Caitlin Clark, and I guess I was
Mhm.
just too excited. I thought they was probably gonna try to build around Rakia, build around Cameron Brink, and then I just kind of don't know what happened. So I guess, hey, it's bleak. I guess
Yeah, I
what you're
mean,
telling me.
I think they force themselves into a position where when you can get NECA, you can improve your team right now. Rakia Jackson just does not fit, like,
Yeah,
roster-wise. Because if you're gonna bring in NECA and you need more perimeter defense, like, that's been an issue for them the last couple of years. Their defense has been abysmal. You have to just get Errol Atkins, who's a better fit, plays off the ball better shooter, spot up shooter, better defender. So I think it makes them better. It's kind of just like, well, as I said in my video, I said with Chicago, but like, it makes you better, but at what cost? Like, at what
yeah.
cost is it for the future and flexibility long term too? That factors in.
When do you decide? like, okay, it's time to move off a young player that you think has upside.
Mhm.
Because that's one thing when it comes to roster building, team construction. Because me, I'm a Dallas Wings fan, and I was like, I always was a bigger fan of Satu than Enrique. And it just like it feels like the WNBA moves off the wrong players at the wrong time sometimes. And it's just like I was just trying to think about your process, like when to move off of players, whether they're young, whether they're stars that need to get paid. Like, how do you approach that?
I think to me it comes down to playoff value because with a lot of young players, their first couple years, the rookie contract phase, you're really not in contention windows usually. Like some teams, like the Sabrina, sometimes your timeline gets accelerated towards the end of your rookie contract. A lot of it comes down to like playoff value. If your team is towards that point and you're not a defender, like you're not seeing the improvements in the impact ways that can help a playoff team. To me, that's like why I would have moved on off of Enrique for Dallas. And I think some teams hold on to some of their franchise pieces too long, like Dallas has
Mm.
done with Enrique, where I acknowledge the shot creation's great, but I would have rather them go out and I would have rather them got Natasha Cloud and let Enrique walk. Like
Why
I
did
think
we
Natasha Cloud's defense
go ahead?
would have been a better fit. Like if I think if you had Natasha Cloud, Paige Beckers plus AZ Fudd, that trio works a lot better. And I think the talent gap isn't too crazy there either with Cloud versus Enrique. And I get Enrique scores the ball at a high level, but I just don't like the fit defensively. And we saw Page last year with Enrique.
We could have had Natasha Cloud over Enrique,
No, I mean
or that's the type of player that we need. That's what
that's the
you're
type of
saying.
player. That's like the archetype I would have preferred, like next to Page in the backcourt. I mean, they probably could have if they really if they gave the money they give to Enrique to Natasha Cloud, but like a 1 year deal. I mean, they probably could have got her.
How did
If
we
if, they,
look? How did we lose Satu? Do you know? Because I just didn't understand. That was what I didn't understand. Because like you, I'm
I
not the biggest fan of Enrique, but
Yeah, I think some of that might have just went down to Satu wanting to get out, probably.
mm, okay. So
Yeah,
basically, you don't have no hope for us with Enrique. Basically, what you're
I
saying.
mean, she's good. I guess the best what's the best case is that she finds out a way to get more efficient and she actually plays transition defense for once. Like if she plays defense, plays a little bit harder and she's more efficient, I think it's cool.
Because I
But I'm
think
like,
you had a rated like 44. That would sound crazy in theory until you actually watch the games, and it's like it sounded crazier than what it probably actually was when I actually thought about it once I seen your ranking.
and I think last year, like she was one of the worst transition defenders I've ever seen. Like there were
Mm.
so many times where she just like there was at one point in the year where Dallas's transition defense was the worst like, in the last like 15 years. There's just so many games I've been just watching him and she's just like not even paying attention in transition and just either like mad about a call or like not paying attention, ball watching and I, I think some of it is tied to like she's a franchise legend. They want to win with Enrique, like a great locker room person to have. And all of that factors, of course, into the conversation. You want good people in your organization. But I thought 1 year would have been fine. Like, the reason I'm not as big of a fan of the Enrique signing is you're now tying yourself for 2 more years to where what if it doesn't work great this year? Then you got 1 more year of this. So that's my question there.
Do you think she buys? Because I heard you say like her buying in and playing. She plays defense when her shot is falling. Versus, do you think it's gonna be a buy in with Paige? Because do you think like because I it's easy. Hey, Paige is way better. I honestly, me personally, I think Paige is better than Caitlin Clark. Just not okay. How can I say this? I think Caitlin Clark is kind of more like a Luca than a Steph Curry. Everybody was bringing up the Steph Curry type of comparisons, but I think it's more of like a Luca ball dominant. But I look at Paige and it's like everything about her is just a winning player. Everything about her
Mhm.
is positive. I can't say that completely about Caitlin Clark, even though she's more exciting and she's more of a star. But I think Paige, you can build a real legit contender around her. And I just feel like Dallas isn't doing that. And just me as a fan, I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on that when it comes to Paige and how you will build a championship team around?
Yeah, I think you can build a championship team around Paige as your number one. They made steps like when you can get a defensive player of the year candidate as your center, like that's pretty huge. To me, though, like to build it, if I had to build my ideal team with Paige, and my idea with like Natasha Cloud is you want that secondary ball handler to where you can get Paige off the ball. Like you want Paige to like play on ball some and like run ball screens, but she's even better off the ball, like the off ball shooting, the cutting ability, just how smart she is instinctively within the flow of the offense. So I think you want like not Natasha Cloud, you want like an even better like secondary ball handler that can take on the on ball, off ball responsibilities too, can defend the point of attack. You want like your three, like ideally, I probably want some like a big time shooter, some size on the wing too. But, like it's hard to exactly like I would more just like want like my 3 and D, like my Leonie Phoebish from New York, like
Mhm.
your big wing defensive matchup piece on like your tougher perimeter assignments in the front court. Like I want a five that can like play on the short roll, can like play make, which like, Elena Smith kind of is that vision, and I like the fit there. And then the fours, like again, just more shooting, like some secondary rim protection, just like solid connective skills. So I think there is a way to build a championship team with Paige. I just don't know if Dallas has made enough
I
strides for me to feel confident in that happening with
front
this
office just
iteration of their
isn't.
team.
I was just gonna say, yeah, the front office might not be good enough because I think that's probably one of the best things for the WNBA going forward. Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers, because I
Yeah.
think that's the real dynamic guards. Like they around the same age, they was in the same class, but I
Mhm.
just don't think we are going to give Paige a good enough team to rival Caitlin Clark, and I think ultimately that could hurt the WNBA. But that's just one of who would you pick, Paige or Caitlin Clark?
That one's so tough. I'm so close on it. I'm gonna say Caitlin very slightly, if only because I believe Caitlin's upside's higher. I think
Like
what
as a
Caitlin
shooter?
does, yeah, as a shooter, like the playmaking, just on ball abilities, I kind of just lean that way. But like Paige does offer more on ball, off ball, better defender. I kind of just lean Caitlin a little bit, but I mean both are very close. I think it goes like either way, honestly.
Like when it comes to Caitlin Clark, would you agree with my comparison, like the Luca comparison more than the Steph? Like,
Yeah, she's more ball dominant in the way that Luca is. Paige isn't quite like the off ball shooter that Steph is, but like it's still like the like, off ball, on ball, like you want her off the ball. So I get that as well, but to me, I think there's more upside for Kaylin to do stuff off the ball than like even Luca's done. Like
mm,
just watching her at Iowa, the off screen shooting like she did
mhm.
there, I've never seen Luca ever put that much attention to detail into running off screens. Like he's never done that in
Oh
his
yeah,
life.
okay, yeah.
So I'm like, I think there's some like even like Stephanie White's different quotes that she's had. I think there's some potential for her to start to put more effort into that, and that's the idea of bringing in like more ball handlers with Raven Johnson and bringing in Ty Harris in your backcourt off the bench. So to me, there's more untapped potential there as an off-ball player, and that's how she's going to be more efficient because you're just not going to be as efficient as you possibly can running 25 ball screens every game and taking on that usage. It's just gonna be too hard.
Because I seen you had Paige top 10, and I think you left Caitlin Clark off this time just because I think she had the injuries.
Didn't play enough
Uh,
games, yeah.
but so do you think they could potentially have three top 10 players with Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell on Indiana Fever?
Yeah,
That
I think those are the 3 top 10 players in the league, yeah.
whew, oh man, because I like the Fever and I'm gonna watch them. I root for Dallas, but I don't know. The thing I think about when I think about Indiana is outside those three, like what do you think is keeping them from a championship?
Um, it's honestly just the consistency of their role players is probably gonna be the biggest thing. Last year we saw it, like, if they had Caitlin healthy and she was the caliber player she was as a rookie, they could have, like, they could have made the finals, they could have been in contention there. The first thing is honestly, like, is Caitlin healthy? If she's at her peak, if she's there, they're a contender. They brought in Mo Billings, who's a solid, like, roll and cut big, rebounds, runs in transition. Lexi Hull, it's consistency. Like the shooting can vary a lot with what you get. She'll have a 20 game stretch where she shoots 50% from three. The next stretch is like 22%. I think Ty Harris is a major upgrade for them too. And Sophie Cunningham is as a good shooter. And a big issue with my like evaluation of their role players has been
Mhm.
like they just haven't had a lot of like great defensive role players. Like they haven't had like the defensive wing stoppers. I like Lexi Hole defensively, but she's not a crazy athlete.
Yeah.
She's better off the ball. So I think the vision more is just getting as many athletes as possible, like 3 and D like
I like
athletes. And
Fan I like Fan Bitley for them. I know she ended up leaving, but I thought she was
she
like,
was great. That's kind of the vision. Yeah.
they need another person like that because who did Caitlin have? She had Hannah Storkey, and I feel like she got a
Yeah.
lot of
And
that role from
that's why they brought in Mo Billings because Mo Billings is
oh, you think she could do that?
that archetype. But I think Temmie's like rim protection's a little bit higher. Mo is more of like your small ball five. I think she's like 6'3", a couple inches shorter, 6'2". So they've improved. Like I think Mo Billings is solid. Like she can play her role. I like Aaliyah Boston. I like Kelsey Mitchell. When you have 3 top 10 players, there's always a chance for a championship. It'll really just be like, does Kaylin hit her ceiling? If she does, if she's closer to what she was last year, then there probably isn't a chance because last year the efficiency was rough, and I needed her to develop a left hand. Like that's my thing too. Like I need a left hand. Like
Yeah.
she just doesn't use it.
Like, do you? Hmm. Because I think about the Fever. I don't know who your top three championship contenders are,
Yeah,
but I just keep looking at that team. I've been looking at the Atlanta Dream too. I kind of think Minnesota's kind of falling out
yeah.
because you brought it up because like they lost too much, didn't really replace a lot. Like, who are your contenders that you like? Okay, your top three contenders.
I would have it 2 teams like ahead of everybody else. New York and Vegas. I'd probably lean New York slightly.
New
Like
York? Why New York?
I mean, they brought everybody back. Benajelie Hamilton's back. Like the best contract in the league, 400K for she's their backup now. Brought in some solid like European like international players that can be come off the bench. And then you bring in like Satu too. Like
Oh
the
yeah. Oh,
stock
they did sign Satu.
like
I
they have so much talent and they do have experience playing together too. It's not like you're just bringing in somebody that hasn't played with the same players. Like Satu played with Sabrina in college. Like even Stewie, she played with her overseas. Leonie Fiebisch is her teammate on the German national team. So there's just already that chemistry there. So I would say those teams are my number 1 and number 2. Number 3 is close, like Atlanta or Indiana. Like I think those are the teams that I'm like right outside of. I think it'll be one of the 2 teams in New York or Vegas winning. But like if there's a major step from Ryan Howard efficiency wise or Angel Reese or like in Atlanta, I mean in Indiana's case, Caitlin Clark, there's a chance. Like if an injury goes, something happens there, like they get hot. I would probably lean Indiana, but I think both are very close too.
it's crazy that you mentioned Atlanta because I like with everything they did in the offseason. You know, they added Angel Reese, things like that. I
Yeah.
think Alicia Gray, you're high on her than most people, and I love Alicia Gray. I think she's one of the best two ways in the W. So my thing with I think Atlanta might be better than New York. I think Breonna Stewart kind of is falling off. That might sound crazy because people don't talk like that
I
when they
mean,
talk WNBA, but I think Breonna Stewart's
I
falling.
mean, I've seen that. I think some of it's like her lower body juice when she shoots the ball. It just doesn't feel like she has the same explosiveness on her jumper anymore. I think last year was 24% from three, which just is not good enough. The year before that was 29%, so it's just been tailing off the last few years. I still do lean New York just talent wise, and also Atlanta. It's like you're bringing in like a big piece like to what you're doing. It's year one. Bree Jones is out to start the year two. I don't know when Bree Jones is coming back.
Mhm,
Like they're good. I like Atlanta. Like, I thought Atlanta was the biggest winners of the offseason
mhm.
because I thought they didn't do anything. Like they didn't do anything that was like crazy. Like they every move they made, I think was like flawless. To be honest, like you get Angel Reese for pretty much nothing. You draft like a fun flyer at 13 with some upside and athleticism. Bring everybody back. Nobody in the league brought as many key pieces back as Atlanta did this offseason.
Mhm.
So to me, they did everything they possibly could do to be a contender. It'll just be like as far as their internal development, how the players in house like develop.
Is it the Ryan Howard piece? You're not as big on Ryan Howard as a number one.
I mean, Alicia Gray is your number one, so there's that. I've always been like with Ryan Howard. You see like the shot creation and it's just always been the efficiency, and just like we saw it last year in the playoffs, like the
Yeah,
efficiency
that
just has
rough.
to get better. And I've always been like a little bit like disappointed in her development as a driver too. She cannot handle body like any contact. Like whenever she starts driving, like I think she just like she falls way too much. Like she's on the ground way too much, and she doesn't have that body control. And like for someone that is 6'2", as good as she is defensively, the athleticism is so clear with Ryan Howard. She should not be one of the worst rim finishing wings in the league. Like,
You know who it reminds me of? Because it's crazy that Alicia. I think she should be the number one in Atlanta, but obviously she's just not because she's not as good as Alicia Gray. But it's just like in terms of in the grand scheme of things, she kind of reminds me of a Tatum. Like in terms of when it's good, it looks good, but it seems like it's always kind of something off. But I'm a big Ryan Howard fan, but I think she should be the best player on that team if they want to win a championship. I get Alicia Gray is better, but I think if they can actually win a championship, it's gonna be because Ryan Howard takes a jump. You just don't see that jump with her, basically.
um, I mean, they could win a championship. It'll, yeah. I mean, it's possible. I've just
But
like
not with this version of Ryan Howard, basically.
I think it has to improve. I think we saw last year in the playoffs. Like she has to be a more efficient like shooter, more efficient driver to reach that point. Just because you're putting a lot on her as an on ball creator, and she's always going to take a lot of shots in the playoffs. So there has to be some more of that efficiency to go with it. I think.
Angel Reese, the Angel Reese part of it, I think she has to play a Dennis Rodman type role for this team. I always, when she was coming out, I did not think she was a star offensively. I thought it was more of a superstar role player, like kind of like a Aaron Gordon, a Dennis Rodman, in terms of for a winning team. I just don't think she's good enough offensively. And I just want to hear your expert opinion on Angel Reese, how she could fit in on like a championship team if Atlanta could get there.
Yeah, I think the vision for Angel, just like archetype wise, is you're not getting Angel for her scoring ability. Like that's
Mm-mm.
not like the number one thing that you're looking at with Angel Reese. And I got a lot of heat for this. I think someone clipped my video where I said I think Angel might average 10.5 points a game
I
like
did
this
say
year. And like, okay, my point there is like it wasn't as much about okay, she might average 10 a game. Like the raw point amount does not matter with Angel Reese. If she averages 10.5 points versus 14 points, I promise you Atlanta does not care what Angel averages as long as the process is more efficient. That's all they care about. They care about winning. And I think what I was meant by that point of 10.5 points is there's only so many points that can go around between Bree Jones,
yeah,
Alicia Gray, Ryan Howard. There's only so many points. But like with Angel Reese, you want the rebounding is excellent. The passing ability is excellent. I believe in a better role where she's not having to do so much offensively. The defense can be like, very good just across the board, defending multiple spots and like can switch in different coverages you can play with her. And then also what we saw last year was after Courtney Vandersloot went down in Chicago, they made Angel like their primary ball handler.
yeah,
And the stuff she can do in isolation, like the drives, I've always been a bigger fan of Angel's finishing off drives versus post up because like the post up process is not good. Like the finishing style it needs to improve. And that's why I just like I would not deploy her in a major post up role because I just don't see the value in that. Particularly if you're gonna have Bree Jones too, you want Angel as a screener, you want to do some like fun inverted actions. Like I think it's fun to have like Angel with the ball in her hands in transition, bring in Ryan Howard or Alicia Gray screen for the screen, inverted screening actions. Like do some interesting stuff like that to where yeah she might not average 15 points a game, but like that's fine. Like if she's more efficient in the process, she can still drive all WNBA impact in Atlanta. And I think she makes a lot of sense. Like age wise, Alicia Gray's 31 now. In a couple of years, if the offense continues to develop in Atlanta under Carl Smesco, if she's going to develop a jumper, it's going to be in Atlanta. Like it's going to be under this coaching staff. And if that comes, like who knows? In a couple of years, she could be a definitive top 5, top 10 player in the league if there's
mm,
development. If there's development as far as the offense, just because I think there's pathways in terms of the Alyssa Thomas like unique star where I think nobody thought Alyssa Thomas would be a player that's like coming out of college, out here having games where it's like 15, 10, and 10 almost every single night to where there's pathways to where you can have that unique role to build her as like your face. But I think a lot of that will come down to like how she develops like within the system. But I think for right now, I think like the scheme's perfect. Like have her as like your number 4 option
Mhm.
offensively and just let her fill all the gaps on your team.
I because it's interesting you say that. I just don't think she's that good off. It's okay though. I think she can be a star without having to score. I don't. I
But that's
think
the Alyssa
because
Thomas thing though. Is like Alyssa
yeah,
Thomas is just like I mean AT is like stronger and it's like she's like a freak athlete, like one of the best athletes ever. But yeah, the offense needs to improve, like the jumper and
she definitely has to be. Angel has to be more efficient when she does get her touches close to the rim. But I don't think
turnovers, stuff like that too.
I don't think it's bad if Atlanta asks her not to score. Like you
I
said,
mean,
like 10 points is like if that's what it
if
takes
if
to win.
if she averages 11 points and she shoots 54%, then like
Exactly.
that's what I would rather her average 11 and 54% than average 16 on 45% or 44%. I think like you're just going to generate more efficient looks. And in this scheme, I think she'll get cleaner looks because she's not in Chicago anymore, where they just did not have enough talent around her and no spacing.
Yeah. So you basically because I ain't gonna lie, that's my dark horse, Atlanta. But it's too many things that probably have to go right. Angel Reese has to buy in to being a superstar role player. Ryan Howard has to be a better, more efficient scorer, like you said. But I think they are my dark horse. I ain't gonna lie, I don't believe in New York. It's just some I don't know what it is. It's just something about New York. I'm like, yeah. But Satu and Sabrina can score, but I don't think they can't play defense enough. That's why I would put Atlanta over them. Just I don't know if that sounds crazy, but mm,
Yeah, I mean,
mhm,
there's all when New York has three top 15, three top 15
yeah,
players, plus Sots, who's an all-star caliber player, plus two of the best role players in the entire league in Benajelani Hamilton and Leonie Febish. Like
yeah.
that is
Okay,
good.
okay. Uh, Minnesota. I wanted to get on Minnesota real quick. I think Nafisa Collier. Well, I'm pretty sure everybody respects her who pays attention,
Yeah.
but I think she's because you had Asia in her own tier.
Hmm.
Um, I think Nafisa is right there. Now her team did get worse, but overall, when it comes to Minnesota Lynx, do you think me personally, I think Olivia Miles kind of looks like the next Chelsea Gray to me. Like in terms of just making everybody better, being like
Hmm.
a super point guard. Like, what is your overall thoughts on the Minnesota Lynx? Because you were kind of low on a lot of things that they did, but they do have a top two player in the league.
They have Fee. They brought Court back, Kayla McBride, add Olivia Miles, who I thought was a top 3 prospect, no doubt, in this class, number 2 on my board. My criticism of Minnesota was more it's hard to grade you high when you lose your defensive player of the year and you replace them with Natasha Cloud, who's like 34 years old. It's like a fine player, but 2 years protected. I don't like that a ton, to be honest. Then you also add in like Nia Coffee, who Nia Coffee is just was not good enough last year
Yeah,
in Atlanta. I didn't think she like showed enough, and I watched a lot of her overseas because she played with Awa Fam. She wasn't very good. To give her 2 years protected is pretty crazy. I mean, they just didn't
right.
replace. Like you lose Bridget Carlton, Maria Klinikova. They lost her in the expansion draft. Uh, Jessica Shepard. They just lost all
Alana
these
Smith,
pieces.
who they gave us Alana Smith, thanks.
They
But
lost
like,
her.
mhm,
You brought Olivia Miles back, but the role players, it's a lot of flyers and like some international players. Some of those players, I'm just like not too in on the depth of the class of like their training camp class coming in. I don't see a championship window here existing
ouch.
anymore.
That
Like
hurts
there's
because Fee's definitely supposed to be deserving to be.
yeah.
So didn't they go to back to back finals? If I'm not mistaken,
I don't think they didn't make it last year. I don't think they got knocked out earlier. But
they did. Okay, okay.
another part that goes into that is Fee's not healthy to start the year either. I think she had
Mhm.
like surgery on both of her ankles or something like that, which isn't ideal. So I just don't see like the cards stacking up for them. Just
Who did they lose to? Because they did lose. I'm trying to think who they lost to. Minnesota
I wonder
Lynx,
if it was Phoenix or it was it might have been I think it was Phoenix.
Phoenix. Okay. Because what happened with Diamond Miller? Like what happened to her? Is she like?
Eh, she's in Connecticut now.
Mm,
It's in She just didn't have the athleticism, and just the athleticism, and I don't think she's fluid enough. Like
She looks slow. She did look slow, but
she doesn't look as fast.
where was she picked? She was picked like top.
Number 2 overall in 2023, which 2023 was not a good draft class.
Mm,
I did prefer Jordan Horston, who's in Seattle. I think she's a way better player. But they took Diamond, and she played some her rookie year, but then her year 2 season, she went down with an injury early into the season, and then at that point, Bridget Carlton started to settle in as one of the best role players in the league, and then when she come back from her injury, there just wasn't a role there anymore, and then it was like,
yeah.
not a role, sadly.
Do they still got Alyssa Peely?
I think she's in LA, in camp in LA.
The WM, see, that's one thing I have noticed about the WNBA. Like, you look up, like if you're not 100% paying attention, there
Players are off the
are
roster.
it's crazy. So I guess you're basically saying Minnesota, it's over with. It's done. Sorry, Fee. Basically.
At least for I mean, at least for this year, at least they did lock up those players for another year. So, yeah. It, I mean, unless Olivia Miles like is an all WNBA like an all star caliber player pretty quickly, and there's a chance, I guess, if Olivia Miles is hitting that stride by next year, if he comes back. That was also interesting too. Is Fee signed a 1 year contract?
Mhm.
She didn't lock up for 2 or 3 years,
Oh,
so I'm
it
not sure if there's
yeah.
like anything there too. Not too
Because
sure
yeah,
there.
that's one thing that I got to get better at when it comes to tracking WNBA players. Like you
Hmm.
can just look up in a player that you like for a team, they just gone. Because if Fee is gone, that's a big deal. So
Right.
I did want to ask you this because it seemed like you loved what Seattle did, and
Yeah.
I was with you when you said that Flower J was a steal, and
Yeah.
like what is the ceiling on that? Because you said you like what's her name Malonga and our fam. I
Yes.
I wouldn't have been mad if we drafted our fam. I get why we didn't, the Dallas Wing.
Hmm.
But like, how did you feeling about Seattle? Because I love Flau'jae, Jordan. They got Jordan Horston, Esme Mabel. That roster seems kind of good to me. I don't know.
Yeah, they're building towards the future. This is a year where they're just focused on Dom's development. Ala Fam coming in as a rookie, Flage getting her minutes. She'll probably start from day one too, which is going to be one of the few starters as a rookie. So their idea is more long term building. This year they're going to be bad, but I like the idea of building a front court around Awa Fam, Dominique Malunga. There's never been a front court this young in WNBA history,
Mhm.
and Dom's upside's crazy as 6'6" major athlete. Some of the skills that she has with the ball in her hands, the pick and roll abilities. Awa Fam, 6'4", playmaking, shooting upside, great post scorer, defensive tools, defend in space. I love that front court. Then you add in like Jordan Horston, who's an athletic wing, Flau'jae Johnson, athletic wing. Really, to me, if Awa Fam hits her ceiling and Dominic Monga does that too, they're only 19, 20 years old. By in 3 or 4 years, they're still gonna be, like, the same age as these rookies are now coming in. Like, they're so young. Like, in 3 to 4 years, if you have them hitting their stride, they're stars. Even if Flage is not a star, if she's a high-end role player, like, if she's a shooter, defends, Jordan Horston, then you just need a elite, like, wing creator, wing or point guard. Like, just have that other, like, perimeter creator. Like, to me, it's how I would build a team. Like a lot of what Seattle's done, I think it's kind of like how I look at basketball too, and just like their philosophy. I think a lot of it like screams like this is interesting long term.
So you think that front court can play together long term and it don't be a problem? Like no defensive problems, no offensive problems. It's just a
I mean, there's gonna be some defensive development needed for both of them, of course. Like I think some of it with Dom is like hand placement, rim protection. Like she has the tools. It's like strength development, but you're 20 years old, like that's gonna come. Awa fam, it's like aggressiveness, but I've been impressed by Awa's like perimeter defense. Just even watching her against Team USA, the way she defends in space, can guard multiple coverages. The only issue you could have is if Awa's not a shooter, if the shot like the improvements she made this year aren't like real, and she's like an okay shooter and she's not a real shooter. there could be some more questions there, but to me, like what I've seen from Awa, I believe she's gonna shoot it at a high level for like a 4. And I think someone I comped her to was like NECA. I think it was was my comp for Awa pre-draft. Like, I think I'm very high on that potential front court, just the skill, athleticism. I would just bet on that long term too.
Do you think that's the rebuilding team to watch? Like if I was watching WNBA League Pass,
Yes,
because it kind of fit. Yeah.
that's like the team. Like if you want like a fun young team to watch, I think they've got it all.
Okay. Okay. Um, One thing I did want to talk to you about because you said the 2027 class, and you were right on it because I kind of had a feeling. I'm like, I look at Madison Booker, I look at
Mhm.
Malaysia Fuwali. She's kind of getting a little iffy, but I love her game. Hannah
Yeah.
Hidalgo is my favorite. Just to watch. But I do think Juju's one. But I kind of disagree with you on two. I think Hannah Hidalgo is two, and I think the girl from Michaela Williams. I think she's three from LSU. I'm a Texas fan. I love Madison Booker. It's just something about her game. Just
Why do you prefer Hannah over Madison Booker?
every time I look up, she's making plays. Like just from my
Yeah.
just from I guess you would say like a casual perspective when I'm
Yeah.
just watching the game, it's like she's always doing something that's impacting winning and it just pops off the screen. Like Madison Booker is cool, but it just feels like hmm, I'm not gonna say forced. I'm not gonna say she's a forced
There
star.
is shot
Yeah.
selection issues. There's some of that, like we saw the tournament. Like she was great down the stretch of her season, but the last game was not good.
Yeah. What was she like? She was 4 for 17 when I was looking. And it
I
was
think
getting
from what I saw, I think what I tracked looking at the numbers, it was like the most inefficient, like 20 field goal attempt game in tournament history. Like
and
it's not what you want.
that worries me. With Hannah Hidalgo, I thought Notre Dame was gonna be trash. Every time I tapped in, they was kind of
Yeah.
losing. And then next time I looked up, they was like, didn't they make it to like the final four or I think the Elite Eight, one of those? And I'm just like, how'd this happen? Because I just stopped watching them because I just thought they was gonna be terrible. And I just respect that because she makes those level plays. I get the size, I get the shooting. She might not be a top tier point guard, but it's just something about Hannah Hidalgo. And I think we in sports we kind of measurements and stuff like that. I think she's special. I think Hannah Hidalgo right behind Juju. I think she's special, and it sounds crazy. I love Madison Booker because she is on Texas, but I just don't trust Madison Booker, bro. You just-
Yeah, I like Hannah's defensive ability. Like, one of the best defenders I've ever watched play basketball, and just how she guards on the ball, like off the ball, you have no clue where she's coming from, and like there's potential at any point for her to get a steal. What makes me prefer Madison Booker is just betting on the athleticism, the size, and that skill level translating to her. When I watch Hannah Hidalgo, I get like how good she is in transition, but I worry about like a 5'6" guard who's more score first, more versus like a primary playmaker. The shooting ability fell off like a lot this year. The mid-range shot's never been like totally consistent. I don't totally love the jumper and just how high her arc is. Like, just feels like there's a lot of variance, like from shot to shot she takes. Like some shots look very good, some shots they just don't look good because she shoots the ball like out of the frame on the TV. So it's tough. Like I love the way she defends, but I'm just gonna like philosophy wise bet on the 6'1" player. But I would prefer Hannah over Michaela, just like defensive wise. Michaela doesn't play defense much at all.
with Hannah, I don't necessarily think she's going to be a star, like in terms of like just like star. I think she's going to be a superstar role player in terms of every
Yeah.
time we have one of these big games. If you pair her with the right like team and the right
Hmm.
stars, like if she was on Dallas, if she was with Paige, I feel like consistently she's going to be making defensive plays. Consistently, she's going to be helping us win games. So I think I
Yeah.
value more of her in that sense. I do understand what you're saying with the Madison Booker could be more of a star offensive hub, things of that nature. But sometimes it's just like, man, you take the most effective player. That's just my little thing with
Yeah.
the Hannah Hidalgo situation.
And that's fair. If Madison Booker, her role at Texas, as you probably know, like Vic Schaefer's scheme, they do not like taking
They don't
threes.
shoot threes.
So, like,
It's crazy.
some of that to me is there untapped potential here with Madison Booker. Like, you get her in a
Mhm.
WNBA system, can that team find some stuff and work with her jumper? I even look at like with Jackie Young at Notre
Mhm.
Dame. When she was in college, she did not take threes at all, and she developed that part of her game. I'm not someone that always bets on like everybody becoming a 3-point shooter, but sometimes I do when it's the players that are already so efficient from the mid range. They're great free throw shooters. They have obvious good touch. Madison Booker's only issue as a shooter to me is you see it with a lot of the big time mid range shooters like DeMar DeRozan, like
Mm,
Simone Augustus, like all these like the legendary mid-range shot creators is their shot is gets so flat when they extend out. Like in the mid-range, they get so much elevation on their jumper, but from three, they just can't shoot the exact same way.
yeah.
So their shot just gets flat. So that's probably the one hurdle and just like the process wise of how she's always played and how she's been told to play the last 4 years at Texas is off every screen, curl for a mid-range jumper, like 1980s basketball. Like let's curl in the mid-range for a pull-up too.
You think she got some like some point guard juice? Because I think when Roy Harmon was hurt, she was
Yeah,
playing a
she
little point guard for us, but it's like,
yeah.
is it real in your opinion?
Not really. I think I thought there could be some more, like, secondary playmaking, but the last couple of years, you've really just seen her be in a scoring mindset where she just, like, gets tunnel vision a little bit too much to me. When she wants to pass, like, I think there's some creativity to what she can do as a playmaker, just downhill, get downhill, draw a double, hit somebody in the dunker spot, or find a kickout shooter. There's an obvious, like, you can see, like, flashes of her making some nice passes, but I don't see her as, like, a big guard. I like Juju's passing a little bit more, and I think Juju's decision making is a little bit better. And I also like I think of the 3, I think Michaela Williams' passing is the best. I think her passing is pretty fun.
Michaela Williams is an interesting because you brought up the defense with her, but the offensive juice just is like it's crazy. I think out. Hey, we could put some defenders around you. I think if she can go as high as two, and I wouldn't be mad. But it's just like, what do
She
you see with
doesn't
Yeah?
Yeah, so she's a 6-foot wing, two guard combo guard wing, um, really high level shot creator at every level, mid-range shot creation, off ball shooting, pull up shooting from 3, just needs no space to get her shot off. Step back jumpers, every tough shot she can hit, can play in ball screens, can draw 2, hit a pass, gets a lot of velocity in her passes. I just worry, like, the conditioning is sometimes an issue for her,
Mhm.
and you see that defensively a lot, is that she just doesn't have, like, the energy defensively, and then she just athletically doesn't have the burst to, like, get by people consistently, doesn't get to the rim all that often. So you're looking at more of a perimeter centric creator who struggles defensively. There's just more of a limited profile to me where if we're betting on upside, I'm gonna just naturally bet on like Madison Booker and the Juju Watkins and the Hannah Hidalgos who do have more of the athletic juice and do more stuff on both ends. So I think like Madison Booker right now, like the defense is sometimes like not all that consistent, but she's 6'1" and like she can play make and she's a crazy athlete. So like
Okay.
there's a vision there too.
And then what are some of your, because I hear the concerns about Malaysia. We don't really
Mhm.
got to talk about Juju. She's probably one of the best prospects I can remember since Maya
Ever.
Moore. You hit it right on the head. When I seen her play, I was like Maya Moore. Uh, but what are some fits? The bad teams. Who are some of these fits that you would like for these great players?
I mean, Juju Watkins can fit like anywhere. Like any of these teams could obviously use Juju. Um, the most interesting fit is going to be like where does Mylasia Fulwiley go? As you said, like she's one of the biggest enigma prospects. One game you can watch her and she's doing the coolest moves in transition you've ever seen. Blocks 5 shots. You look at her stat profile. I think I said in the video too. Her stats are that of a big, like the shot blocking, the rebounding, the finishing, foul drawing. Like if she's in the right developmental context, like it could be a very cool player. Like
What's holding her back? Because when I watch her, I don't get it either. I don't get it.
it's she doesn't slow down. Like there's so many times where she just
Mm,
like she doesn't slow down, tunnel visioned, like the feel for the game. Like she's creative and stuff, but I feel like she's like a second late a lot of times seeing stuff, and like the pacing is a big worry for me. And she doesn't use her left hand ever. Whenever I tracked it, I think I saw like she didn't take a left hand layup for like 2 years. At one point, it was like 2 years, a 2 year stretch of no left hand layups. So like, and the shooting's also a big question there as well. Just never been all that consistent from three. It's always been streaky. The mid range has always been streaky. You're just betting on athleticism, the guard, like playmaking guard. Like she's a cool athlete. The upside's crazy, but even defensively, like you see how talented she is defensively and the playmaking numbers. But on a possession by possession basis, it's not consistent. There's a reason she doesn't play 29 minutes a game for
Yeah,
LSU, and why she's always been a 20-minute a game backup guard
yeah.
for these schools is that she's not consistent enough with her process.
Do you think? Do you think she's gotten better? Like from her freshman, you think she's the same player?
I think she's the same player, but she's gotten better within what she does. So like,
Mm,
and that's always been my concern with Mulkey players and like the always the Kim Mulkey college players is she's very good at maximizing what players are already good at,
mhm.
but she's not good at expanding players' games and letting
Okay.
them like experiment. We saw it with like even Angel and like Anissa Morrow. Like you look all these players, even Flau'jae Johnson. Like Flau'jae's development staggered. That's
Yeah.
just what happened. Like you didn't see development. Like they never got her to finish with her left hand. They never got to develop like the feel for the game, different aspects of, like that. Like she struggled in, and that's just like the thing.
Do you think Flausha got bored though? Like after winning the championship and she's like the NIL, the rapping. I think Flausha just kind of looked bored and was kind of ready to go. I honestly think she'll be better in the W, but and that's probably not a good
But
thing to
like,
be bored. But
I mean, even if that's the excuse, though, I feel like isn't your job as the coach to like get more out of the players? Like it's
yeah,
and then I just think like Kim Mulkey's a good college coach. Like they win for a reason. Like they win for a reason. Look, I look at my Leisure Fuawi's game, and I haven't even like last year. Like she ups all of her stats, but I haven't seen enough that makes me think, oh, in 2 years from now or 3 years from now, she's all of a sudden gonna become way better at reading the game, like making decisions on the court. And I think like just like philosophy wise, I just tend to bet on like the high feel players and the players that
yeah.
are just like great processors because like typically if you're gonna have to scale their roll down, scale it up, those are the players you trust most to take on those responsibilities versus the players that are just so reliant on having the ball in their hands and everything running through them to be successful too.
So you consider like Malaysia like pretty much like a boomer bust, like
She's
you.
one of the biggest I've seen, yeah.
So
Like not
you
quite Janiyah Barker from like last year's draft, but like it's kind of the same idea.
because when I see her, sometimes I see Bones Highland and sometimes I see Allen Iverson, and it's
Sometimes you
just
see John Morant. Sometimes you see like the most electric Derrick Rose, like the most electric athletes you've ever seen. Other times it's like, is this like a real WNBA player? Like, is this someone I would feel comfortable putting out in the court in the playoffs, especially like because that's like obviously like, the ultimate goal. Like, I don't know, like half court when you're in a
yeah,
half court game, it's not transition. You can't just like in the open court 3-on-1. So that's the
yeah.
worry too.
Okay, I was thinking about this because you, who was the girl from Kansas? I wasn't familiar with her till you brought her
Samaya
up.
Nichols.
Samaya Nichols. You would take Samaya Nichols over Malaysia for Wiley.
I think I would.
Mm,
Samaya's like the best foul drawer ever. Like she just like is like 80% free throw rate is unheard of. 8 free throws a game. Like I've seen some people compare to Shea, just like movement
mm,
wise. Like the reason you're gonna hear the Shea, you're probably gonna hear a lot of the Shea comps, and people are gonna push that. And some people will probably have her as a number two prospect. And what are the stats people will probably love? Like Samaya Nichols, like she's like the ultimate like stats or whatever they call like
yeah,
the stats FC people, like the
yeah,
spreadsheets FC. They're gonna love her because she's she's 6 foot, got good size. She's efficient at all three levels. It really just is. We haven't seen a lot of her play and against like the South Carolinas, the Texases, the LSU's, UCLA. Just hasn't USC's hasn't played those teams yet. But she's played like Baylor, which has like great athletes. TCU. She's played like very good teams in college, and I just, like, love the way she runs ball screens. Was, like, one of the best ball screen players in the country this year. Great pacing, like, she has that herky-jerky movement like Shea has where she just keeps defenders off balance at all times, changes speeds, change directions, just, like, very fluid at the rim, good finisher, great with both hands. She's efficient from 3, it's just so much of what she does right now is on the ball that we
Mhm.
haven't seen her take a lot of off-ball threes or do a lot defensively. But I think sometimes we'll really like her. Like, there's clear, like, feel for the game, athleticism, playmaking juice. It'll just really be like, how does the shot come together on higher volume, and will she defend at a higher level, and
So
how does it look
so
against higher comp?
so with her and Mileage is really more of a name versus game because it for some stranger it just sounds crazy because the level of prospect Mileage was I've been hearing about it for like 4 years, 5 years coming out. So it's name versus game with it with those
And some
two.
of that to me and what I look at like, how some of these prospects have fallen, I even look at it with, like, Tanaya Latson. Tanaya Latson fallen to pick 20 in this last year's draft. Is there, like, a gigantic difference between, like, the worries of Flauja with, Myleja Fulwiley versus the biggest issues with Tanaya Latson?
Mhm.
Like, to me. Like, we saw the teams just were not in on Tanaya Latson in the draft. And I get Myleja's a little bit bigger, like, even more explosive athlete. She probably won't fall to pick 20, I just can't imagine in that. But teams were worried, like, with Tania's shooting, like, some of, like, the on-ball reliancy, like, not really doing a lot off the ball, and some of the finishing limitations were, like, left hand issues and the driving process. How does that impact playoff basketball versus, like, the Samaya Nichols of the world where it's, like, big, productive, can run ball screens, smart. Not a flashy name, of course. Like, there's a chance she doesn't go that high if we see her play, like, a couple more big schools and it doesn't go super well. Like, she hasn't made the tournament yet, I don't think, in her college career. Like,
Oh,
she stayed low to Kansas, and that plays
oh,
into it too, but they're gonna be pretty good. They're gonna be pretty
okay.
good this year.
I'm gonna add her to my watch list because I just wasn't familiar with that name, and yeah, that's why we tune in.
Yeah,
So, I would my last draft question: Who outside of Juju, because I know how this gonna go,
yeah.
who do you think is the best prospect regardless of class? Because I was seeing Sarah Strong at UConn, and I'm just like, I don't think I've seen this before in women's basketball. It's crazy. Who do you?
Sarah Strong, without a doubt, I think Sarah Strong's a better prospect than Juju. I think she is, yeah.
Ooh, why do you think that?
Sarah Strong is as close of a perfect prospect as you're gonna find. Like, she's probably a top 3 prospect ever to me. She's 6'2". She does everything. Like, she doesn't do
Yeah.
anything. Like, she's an awesome passer, like, one of the best front court passers ever. One of the most efficient college basketball players ever at any level. Um, Rebounds, great finisher, great scoring process, good mid-range shooter, good spot up three-point shooter, awesome defender, like, the most versatile defensive player in the country, like, pretty clearly to me. It like, there's not many
Hmm.
weaknesses. It's kinda just like, okay, will she make pull up threes? But some of that also is, like, it's the
You don't need
UConn
that from
scheme.
her. Yeah, you don't need
But
that.
it's like if you want the perfect prospect, like,
Yeah,
you want her to
okay, I
take,
see what
like,
you're
you want her to create more shots in the mid-range, but also some of that is the UConn scheme, and they just never asked a lot of that from her. So, like, the profile is, imagine if Nafisa Collier was, like, in college, like, Nafisa Collier wasn't a big time shooter. Like, imagine if Nafisa Collier out of college was a 40% shooter from 3. It also was one of the best passing forwards ever. Like, that's the kind of the vision here, and it's
bro. You got me wanting to watch every. That's great because I think I've been heard about her. She was the number one coming out of high school, McDonald's All American, all those
yeah.
things. She went to UConn, but it was just something about watching her play. I'm like, I just don't think I've ever seen a women's basketball player play like this. I didn't know you would have her over Juju and use that high on her, but that's some high praise. Is there anybody else?
Those 2 are I think clear, like, far and away, like, not many players closer to them. Who would I have after them? I think honestly 3 might be Madison Booker to me. Like, I think there's, like, 2 clears, and after that, it's not as set in stone in my opinion. Like, I guess you got your Madison Bookers, like Michaela Williams. One player I do like is Jelani Cambridge at Ohio State. Like,
Oh, the point guard. I know I've heard of her.
yeah, she's 5'7". wild athlete, the shiftiness that she has, can run ball screens, real mid-range scorer. She was like one of the 5 best players in college basketball after like December. The efficiency everywhere. Just want to see like a little bit more as a passer and continue improving in that area. I think she's a good passer, but like can she get like even more as a primary first, like now more score first. But I just love how well rounded she is. The
She's a junior.
athleticism.
She a
Yeah, she'll be
junior.
in the same
Okay.
class as Sarah.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
Michaela Blake's too, but I'm a little bit lower on Michaela Blake's translation, to be honest. But I
Vanderbilt.
yeah, she's good. She's good. I like Michaela Blake's most off the ball to me. I don't see enough of like the on ball shot creation, and like her driving to me too. It's so much of it is like right hand dominant to me, and I don't. It's small. It's hard with the super small guards. Like she just like doesn't have that creation juice the
Co-
same way that.
college good. I call that college good, to where it's kind of
Yeah,
like,
but I think she'll still be, like, a very good WNBA player. I just don't quite know if she'll be as good as Jelani Cambridge, who's just way more dynamic with the ball in her hands and does a lot more things that I believe would translate.
okay. I think we covered a lot of. Is there anything you've just been thinking about when it just comes to the state of women's basketball? Because I think I care more. I honestly just care more. I'm curious. I'm still kind of a casual, maybe slightly above casual, but I care more. That's why I watch all your videos. Do you
Appreciate it,
just
man.
what is the state of women's basketball right now, in your opinion?
I think it's very strong. I think I like, a lot of that comes down to, like, the conversation around it and just more people talking about it, more people being, like, engaged into, like, what's actually happening on the court, and it's always good when you have more people that are, like, aware of, like, the tactics and, like, what goes into, like not just the narratives of, like, "Okay, this player's cool," like, off the court stuff, and, like, it's, like, the on the court impact. This is what people are tuning into. I think the state of the game is, like, very strong. You have new expansion teams coming in. Interested to see what happens there with Toronto, with Portland, how those teams build for the future. Toronto took a very different approach than what we saw, like, Portland take, or Portland's rebuilding. Toronto is trying to win now with Sandy Brondello, who's a veteran coach who's always won, has won multiple championships. So I think it's awesome, like, where the game is at. Like, honestly, for my purposes, like, just speaking to me, one benefit of, like, where the league is at is you are seeing more investment into,
Mhm.
like, scouting and, like, I think, like, one thing I've always just noticed the last couple of years especially is how the best teams are the ones putting besides, like, Las Vegas, they're putting the resources into, like, scouting, player
Yeah,
development. Like, Vegas just gets away with it because they have Asia Wilson and Jackie Young. They don't have to do international scouting in that way, but, like, you look at Phoenix, you look at New York, even Minnesota, just the stuff they've done on the margins. I think that's, like, big for me, especially because that makes more jobs available. If there's people that desirability to
you're definitely getting a job. That's why I had to get you in fast. You're definitely getting a job. Like I don't think there's nobody. I don't think there's nobody else. I think you got like Rachel and Demita. She covers it pretty good. Um, but you don't like narratives. Narratives work. Like I
nar-
get it, but
narratives work, but, like, if the goal is to, like, drive the game to another level, I think you have to go beyond the narratives. And I think so much of that is, like, what's worked well. So, like, I look at the NFL, like,
mhm,
for example, the NFL is, like, I think the NFL's coverage, like, especially specifically, like, whether it's NFL Live,
mhm,
like, how in depth they get on a pregame show. I
yeah.
think the WNBA getting more of that level of, like, even the NBA needs more of it too. I think you've seen some of it, but, like, that in-depth coverage, I think goes a long way into, like, beyond the narratives because the narratives are cool, but if, like, people don't know what they're looking for, like,
I
it
I,
only
th-
goes so far.
I think the narratives would help the WNBA specifically because like who would you consider the fan base for the WNBA? Me personally, I think it's real basketball fans. Like the
Yeah.
same person who watched WNBA, they will watch boys high school basketball. They'll keep up with college basketball and things of that nature. Like I'm watching a McDonald's All American game, the Jordan Brand Classic. Like those are the WNBA like fans. Um, I I don't know. They got to find a little bit more in terms of getting more casuals to come in and watch if they want to increase the revenue.
Yeah, and I think so much of what the narratives have went a long way into, like, what the WNBA has got, especially over the last couple of years, like the Angel and Caitlyn rivalry and Angel versus Caitlyn Clark and
But see, that was a bad one though. Like Angel Reed, she's just not as good. Like it just, I think that was a bad one. I think the
Yeah,
Paige and Caitlyn's a little bit better.
I think the thing with narratives and how I think it's more of like moving past like what they were in college and like establishing like new
Yeah,
narratives. I would probably say is like now you have like AZ and Paige. Like I think there's some fun stuff there. Like of course, like I think
yeah.
there's some places that like narrative wise I don't usually focus a lot on the narratives because a lot of it just is so much of an unknown and it's not as important to me, like, just how I watch basketball and, like, engage in the and, like, engage in the experience, but it does matter, like, it for sure matters, but I feel like there's more in, like, where the game can go. Like, whenever I watch, like, a press conference, like,
Mhm.
uh sometimes, like, some of the questions are just, like, wild, and you see, like, the coaches and just how much better answers you get when you ask them, like, actual
Good
basketball
questions.
questions.
Yeah.
Like, not many people do it, but the few people that do it, they get so much insight, and some of that insight, like, some fans will, like, be responsive and be like, "Thank you for asking this question, like, I didn't know this," like, now they watch the games and they see, like, another insight, like, this happens versus just, oh, like, my least favorite question, I didn't tweet this out because I don't wanna get people mad, but, like, people always asking about pressure. That's like the number one narrative question that everybody
Mhm.
loves. You'll see it like on ESPN First Take. Who has the most pressure in the series?
Mhm.
And like you'll see in like press conferences, like they ask like a player, like, oh, like, is there pressure this year to win a championship? And it's like what
I'm kind of with you on that. Me personally, because I don't like those. That's like kind of like the Stephen A. route. I like these type of narratives because, like you was just talking about Madison Booker, and we was talking about Michaela Williams. They're coming out in the same draft class.
yeah.
Like in my brain, I'm like, oh, Hunter said Madison Booker better than Michaela Williams, or he would take him. So then when they get to the WNBA, I'm looking at it. Okay, what's Madison Booker doing? What is Michaela
Yeah.
Williams? It's just like I just think that's part of a fun part of a narrative to where it's like, but it's based on competition at your draft class, your position, and things of that nature. Because we do it all the time. Like with the NBA, I just me personally, Luca and SGA. They were in the same draft class. Luca was picked to be MVP front runner all the time. And I'm just like, yeah, SGA done passed you. Luca, what you gonna do? I'm comparing like those type of narratives. You don't like those either?
I mean that's I mean
No.
I get it. I get its place. I just don't care too much about it. Like
Mm.
I guess some people will care about it. Like if I guess I'm just not the target audience to like that.
Yeah, you're more like
'Cause I'm
analytical
because
driven,
I'm if
more
I'm
roster
you're
construction.
not trying to the point of those is to get people to watch the game. Like,
Yeah.
I'm watching the games anyways.
Yeah, regardless. Okay, I
Yeah.
understand. Because it's like sometimes it's like to catch a game on a random Tuesday, I'll just be like, let me I have to kind of make something up in my head, be like, okay, she going up against her and they at the same position. They was drafted right behind. Mhm. But
That stuff
then that's
matters. I mean, it matters.
you know. I think we pretty much covered everything. You said Asia Wilson's your go? I did see that. I don't think that's crazy, but
I mean, I think she is, and she's I think what factors into that to me is also she's only 29 or not even 30 years old yet.
mhm.
She could win a couple more MVPs, couple more championships, and at that point, she's already won more MVPs than anybody else. If she gets more, the accolades, like, I think the overall resume is so crazy. I
Did
don't
you
think
like
she'll
go ahead.
I don't think she'll end up the number 1 player in points all time, but, like, who cares? Like, the accolades will all be there.
Because last year, I felt like the roster construction around her wasn't even that great, to be honest.
That's my thing too, is, like, they won a championship, and they weren't even good halfway through the year, and they were, like, an 8 seed, and they turned it around, and they won a championship. Now
That
they're even better.
and I think that's where I kind of was leaning towards her. Like Maya Moore is my goat. I was like a little kid when she was doing her
Yeah.
thing. So, but I'm starting to see the Asia Wilson thing because last year I was looking at their roster and I was just looking at how they were playing on court before the Melissa Smith deal. And I honestly think Asia Wilson just kind of backpacked. And I think that's what you look for out of an
Yeah.
MVP and a GOAT. So, you know, are they your title favorites? You did say that,
I think
right?
I said New York, but they're right there. Just 'cause it's hard to go back to back, but, I mean, it's possible.
New York. I'm sorry. It's something about New York. I don't trust them. You mentioned the Jonquel Jones thing, but it's something about it. I don't know what it is. I can't. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Anything else? anything else that you want to cover? I thought this was a great conversation. I feel like I've been, you know, sorry for my casualness because
Nah, I think you know a good amount. I think you're underselling yourself here.
uh, but I really appreciate your time and hey man, yeah, because I did have some notes, but nah. Well, we talked about everything. Did you used to play basketball?
Not at a high level. Like, I mean, I can shoot. Like, I can shoot. I didn't play at a high level.
Because your basketball, it's like I can hear the basketball IQ. Like it's very analytical and everything. It's very organized in terms to like your approach to the game. It's like it's really no fluff in your analysis. Like,
Yeah,
where did
like
that come from?
I never had the size or like the athletic juice to like play at a high level.
Mhm.
A lot of it to me is like watching the game, and I think when you know you're not going to be like a high level player, like you know you're not going to like have that playing game direction. You're focused on watching the game, and just a lot of like me, I've listened to a bunch of podcasts. I think like podcasts is like something where I just learned a lot watching like YouTube, reading articles that are smarter than me, like historic stuff on old prospects and just going back and listen to that kind of stuff too. So like, yeah, I just think I kind of knew what my goal was and I'm like
Yeah,
working towards that. So I think like a lot of that is just like focus on that. But like, I'm not awful at the game. Like, it's not, I'm not awful, but I'm not there.
because
Yeah.
I see a lot of times it's like a lot of former players and they come out
Mhm.
and they say certain things. Some of the point, I'm sorry because I didn't play at a high level either. I kind of stopped in middle school, but hey man, it's a lot of former players. Some of their takes just be trash. I'm just gonna keep it. I'm just gonna keep it 100. And
Cause yeah, it's possible to play and not know like as much about what you're seeing because that your entire career was about playing. It wasn't about like it's a different point of view
exactly,
of like somebody that's only watching versus playing. Like there's some players like Steve Nash is the world, and like I would even like Blake Griffin, the guys on NBA on Prime. Like you see, there's a level of knowledge there, but like not all NBA players, and it's typically those bucket getter archetypes. Like you're those guys
yeah,
you love to have on TV. Like in their career, they just like I don't think they were film junkies. Like I just don't that was like
yeah.
their kind of like position. They were just out there to get buckets and
Vince Carter is one of the hardest people to get through when he's break. Like it's not just terrible. It's just hard to listen to Vince Carter sometimes. Maybe that's just me, but it's like it's very cut and dry. I would say,
yeah.
but yeah. Like I said, man, you're doing amazing work. I had to reach out to you before you disappeared with your WNBA job because you're definitely on your way. The analyst, it's just amazing, man. I appreciate you for spending your time with me. And
Of course, man.
yeah. So Hunter Cruz, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Found some shit I love to do, so I can live comfortable. Searching for a peace of mind, need that when it's time to rhyme. Perfect in every line, any chance I get, and I know it takes time, but I will never quit.